Okay, we're going to do two things in this video. We're going to graph functions and their inverses, and then we're going to write the equations for the inverses. Let me pause though and go ahead and graph. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph the second one. So remember, we take each of these points. This is -9, +4, so we do +4, -9. And then we have -8, +2, so +2, -8. -5, 0, 0, -5. That looks like 0, -2, -2, 0. And then we have 6 and -4, so -4 and 6. Let me just draw this out best we can. Remember, it should reflect across this line y equals x. So that's the easy part. It's asking us for the x and y intercepts for the original function. The x-intercept, in this case is only one of them, is going to be -5 and 0. Actually, do that in red so it doesn't confuse you. -5 and 0. The y-intercept is 0, -2. And if they asked us to flip these, we would immediately just put this as -2, 0 for the new x-intercept and 0, -5 if they ask, but they're not asking. Okay, now it's asking for the domain and the range of the inverse function. Notice that we're not just flipping these this time, it's asking us to think a little bit. So the domain is all your x values. So it looks like it's going from -infinity to 4. So from -infinity to 4. Now, remember the domain of this is the range of the original. The range of the original was from -infinity up to 4. So that sounds right. The range, so remember the domain is the range of the original. And this one's going to be the domain of the original. So you need to think a little bit. So the range on the blue one, which is the domain of the original, is going to be, range is going to be -9, included to infinity. And just to check the domain of the original, the domain is going to be from -9 to infinity according to the red one. Okay, next part. So we've got to find the equation. So we're going to write y equals -2 square root of x plus 9 plus 4. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can just go ahead and rearrange for x right now and then change it for y, or you just switch your x and y's at this point, and then once you've got it on its own, or the y on its own, it's easy enough. So I move that 4 over. I'm going to divide both sides by -1/2. To get rid of that, sorry, we're dividing by -2. Now both sides are going to be squared, -1/2. Sorry, leave that there. X minus 4, I'm going to square it. So then it becomes y equals -1/2 of -1/2 times x minus 4 squared minus 9. So this looks like a quadratic, but remember we talked about this before. Since the domain is only between -infinity and 4, we don't draw the other side of the quadratic. So that's why this is kind of strange. It's depending on the domain is why we only have this half piece. Is the inverse a function? Yes, it is. Okay. This time we're going to do a quadratic. So, right, so we have the quadratic graph. Let's do the inverse. So vertex is 2, -8, so -8, +2. And then this is a little bit trickier to think about, but it is 3 and -7.5, so -7.5 and 3. Or we can just follow the shape of it. So then it goes, I know that it goes over 2 up 2, so I can go over 2 up 2 both sides. And then it goes over 3 and up 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. And then I believe it goes over 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, so 8. So to here and here. Okay, so this is the inverse, and this is the original. Okay, so the x-intercepts of the original are -2, 0, and it looks like 6, 0. The y-intercept is 0, -6. It's asking for us to get the ones for the inverse this time. So the x-intercepts, there's only one of them. -6, 0. Make sure that you switch these numbers around. And then there's going to be two y-intercepts. Don't forget it has to be 0 when it's a y-intercept first. So 0, -2, and 0, 6. Now let's rearrange it. So this becomes x equals 1/2 of y minus 2 squared subtract 8. X plus 8 equals 1/2 minus 2 squared. This is going to be 2 times x plus 8 equals y minus 2 square root both sides. So we get y minus 2 equals plus or minus the square root of 2 parenthesis x plus 8. And final answer, plus or minus the square root of 2 times x plus 8 plus 2. Is the inverse a function? No, it's not. Last one, linear. Let me pause this and... Okay, so you have a little bit more space in your graph. Yours is a little better than mine. However, let's do the inverse. So we've got -2, -12, so that's -12, -2, so here. Then we've got 0, -5, so -5, 0. 2, 2 is the same, and then we have, what's that, 4, 9, so 9, 4. We should get not bad line through there. Ooh. Okay, so the problem with this here is we could possibly get the equation for the line by just looking through here. The only problem is the y-intercept is kind of hard to see because it doesn't quite cross. So, a couple of ways we can do this. We could put it into point slope form, use a point, blah blah blah, or we can just rearrange this here. So let's be x equals 7/2 y plus 2 minus 12. So it's going to be x plus 12 equals 7/2 y plus 2. Multiply both sides by 2 7ths. X plus 12 equals y plus 2. Therefore y equals 2 7ths x plus 12 minus 2. Is it a function? Yes, it is. X-intercepts of the original is, we'll figure that out in a minute. Y-intercept is 0, -5. X-intercepts, we have to set this equal to 0. So it becomes 7/2 x plus 2 equals 12. X plus 2 equals 24 7ths. So this gives me x, well, I've got to subtract 2, so then it's going to be 1 and 3 7ths and 0. So this would be, yeah, it was about right. Not the best graph. If we get to switch this, so y-intercept this time is, y-intercept this time is -5 and 0, and I'm sorry, x-intercept is the y-intercept. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. There we go. And I believe we are done.